You are Locked On Rockets Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, the Houston Rockets went down to the Big Easy tonight in New Orleans and made it look easy all night long from the tip as they went out there and secured a very, very nice, very secure, very easy victory over those New Orleans Pelicans. You have absolutely no issue with nights like tonight when you're able to go out, take care of your business the night after Christmas, and, of course, now head back to the city of Houston, where they will play again tomorrow night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hello and welcome tonight, first night after Christmas, to the Locked On Rockets Postcast. I am your host, Michael Connor. Appreciate you guys for joining us live or recorded, whatever it is. I know that we are starting this show with just a few seconds left in the game, but let's get going. Let's get talking. This game's been over since the opening tip tonight. Appreciate you guys as always stopping by, making sure that you watch the channel live and recorded. As I mentioned, tonight's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So, things that you love to see is, number one, I think that I talk about this quite often when you play teams like this. You know, this is an on-paper game for the Houston Rockets tonight where they should come out and they should coast to a victory, correct? Yes. I mean, New Orleans has 5 wins in the season. 5. The Rockets just played them a few days ago at home and handled them just as easily. That should continue when you play a team like this. And I know that, excuse me, you know, when you and I sit here and we talk about these games and, you know, you analyze this, you analyze that, it's easy to sit here in my chair and say, you just cakewalk to that. You know, it's a nice, easy win. Like, they're guaranteed to win here. Like, you know, coming into this game tonight, yeah, like me as the fan, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, I mean, guaranteed to win here. The Pelicans are terrible. They play no defense. They're horrible offensively. What's not to love about this matchup? And then there's the doing it. And that's exactly what they did tonight. You know, they went out and they did it. And it started with Jalen Green. You know, this is a guy that has had it's been a Jalen Green season. I think that I was actually sitting there talking with my 16-year-old nephew earlier about it. He's like, man, what's up with this dude? You know, it's one game where he just goes nuts, then it's one game where he's just terrible. This is the life of Jalen Green. You know, this is who he is. Freak athlete, capable of filling it up, capable of going absolutely nuts. I know that his shooting numbers this season have not been all that great. He's never been a great shooter, but his numbers are down from where they typically are. But man, when he comes out and he's feeling it, he is electric. And he was electric tonight. Look at his box score. The plus minus stuff, I'm never the biggest believer in, you know, going through that all that much. Plus minus stuff tonight for Jalen Green is insane. 30 minutes, he was a plus 30 on the floor. The Rockets are a plus 30 when Jalen Green was on the floor tonight. Wasn't just him as well. Fred had a great night. He's such a veteran. There's just so many veteran moves that he makes constantly, whether it's picking up fouls left or right, you know, whatever it is. And then what do you know, off the bench tonight, Cam Whitmore. Never been afraid of his own shot. Love him for that. He comes out and he pours 27 off the bench for the Rockets tonight. And that's what I'm saying, like making it look easy the entire night. And honestly, it's a good night when you are making it look that easy. I mean, they had a stretch of this game tonight. That second quarter, and they played Rockets defense, and they held New Orleans down. Now, I know the fourth quarter, the Pelicans went off and scored almost 40 points in the fourth quarter. The game was done. The Rockets came out in the second half, to start the second half, outscored them by 10 after having an 18-point lead at half. The second quarter, though, they kind of went, they went from red hot to kind of ice cold. And it didn't matter because you came out and you built such a lead early on. You did so much in that first quarter. I mean, 39 points in the first quarter is, guess what's going to happen most nights when you go out there and you put up 39 and a quarter? Oh, I don't know. You're probably going to win the basketball game. And that's exactly what the Rockets did tonight. It really was the opening tip on. And they came out scorched earth. New Orleans didn't have a single answer. And then you had Jalen, like I mentioned, just go nuts. You had Fred have a great night. You had Cam Whitmore off the bench have a great night. And those weren't the only suspects in this. I mean, solid nights for others. Jayshawn Tate, nice 17 minutes for him off the bench tonight. Alpy didn't do a lot, but he didn't have to do a lot. Still found his way to 13 boards and 6 assists. Another start for Amen Thompson tonight. Almost a double-double, 9 and 10. Big fan of his game. I wish he could shoot. He's worked hard at it, but I'm a big fan of him. And they just keep rolling, man. They just absolutely keep rolling. And honestly, for us as sports fans, after yesterday, man, we need one of those days, right? I mean, because last night in this great city that we live in, we just all got, we got coal in our stockings when it came to being a Texans fan last night. And I'm not the biggest fan of, I know that, like, if you're on social media today, you see the clapping back and forth between the NFL and the NBA and the ratings yesterday. Everybody knew the ratings were going to be the NFL's winner yesterday. I love all sports. I'm an equal opportunity lover when it comes to all sports. I love baseball. I love football. I love basketball. And I tweeted this during the game tonight, which you can follow me. You see the little right there, Connor Michael on X. I still call it tweeting because I don't know what you call it. I posted it during the game. I just love watching this team. Now, do I always love watching them because they're not a good shooting team? No, of course not. I don't always love it. But the one thing, why I love this team overall, why I love this basketball team, their level of effort is relentless. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Why these games matter, why it's important, why you keep seeing the signs that this team is for real. Talk about it here in a brief second on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. I'll tell you guys right now about the GameTime app. Have you downloaded it yet? Well, what are you waiting for? GameTime is an awesome place to get tickets to whatever live event you're looking to. Look, Christmas was yesterday, but the holiday season's still going on. Maybe you're late on getting somebody a gift. You want to get them tickets to a game. Like tomorrow night, there's a basketball game again with this very team that we're talking about in Houston. Get on the GameTime app right now and get the tickets. Yes, you can do that with the GameTime app. It is that fantastic. Inside of this app, you're going to get all kinds of great features. I mentioned this when we talk about the GameTime app. They have the all-in pricing. One of the most frustrating things about buying tickets is that you go in there on whatever website or whatever app it is that you've been using, it's not the GameTime app, which is a massive mistake on your part. And you get to the checkout point, and it's like $80 more than what it should have been based off of what the price you saw. The GameTime app, they have the all-in pricing that you can toggle on the app. This is a feature that you go in and toggle, and it is going to give you the all-in pricing from the jump. You know what you're paying. That way, when you get to checkout, it's not a ton of surprises. And then my other favorite part of the GameTime app, I always tell everybody, because I have talked to so many people that have gone to games and not taking a look at where their seats are, and it blows my mind. They have the panoramic views in the app. You can see what your view is going to look like. I don't know why you wouldn't do it, but you should be doing it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? It's game time. Locked On Rockets Postcast after a nice, easy victory tonight over the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm your host, Michael Connor. 128-111 is the final. And I got to say, it's nice to be back doing the show. If you've listened to the shows recently, you've probably noticed that I've not had my voice. When I got sick, I feel like this is about as close as I've been to having my full voice back. And I haven't had to cough a bunch. This is great. And you know what's also great is talking about victories. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But I want to remind you guys, hey, if you listen to this show, or if you watch this show, and you also want to get it in its podcast form, you can download it anywhere that you get your podcast. Go and search for the Locked On Rockets podcast, and you'll get this show and the Locked On Rockets show with my buddy Jackson Gatlin, who does a fantastic job covering your Rockets, and it is absolutely free. Free. Who does not love free? I love free. You love free. Everybody loves free. Again, anywhere that you get your podcast, this show and the Locked On Rockets podcast, which is the daily show, this is your post-game show with you for that. And then, of course, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and you also subscribe to Jackson's channel on YouTube to keep up with what we have going on for all these games. Again, we'll be back doing this again tomorrow night because the Rockets will play again tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to take a little bit of a look into that in a minute and kind of talk about some of the keys when it comes to what the Rockets need to do again tomorrow night to continue this roll that they're on as they keep winning games. 21-9 now on the season are your Houston Rockets. I mean, again, if you had told me 21-9 before the season started through their first 30 games of the season, I would have said, I'll take what you're having, please. Not that I didn't think they were going to be better. I just didn't expect 21-9 necessarily. And what is without a doubt going to be a team that is fighting for a top 4 seed in the Western Conference all season long. They are currently the number 2. Man, it's a slim margin. They're only a game better than the Memphis Grizzlies. But seriously, 30 games into the season, this is the 2 seed in the West. The 2. It's nuts. It's good nuts. And you know what else is good? I was talking about it a minute ago. Loving the way that they play. And I don't know that there's really anybody out there anymore that is necessarily not buying into what this Rockets team can do. I mean, defensively, all you have to do, and it's such a breath of fresh air to watch a team that plays this way. They come out defensively every night and they just bring it. They absolutely bring it every single night. But when you play games like this tonight, this is a game that, again, on paper, you should have no problem with. Correct? Easy win. Pelicans, terrible. Rockets, great. It's going to be a cakewalk of a victory. And then there's going out, like I always like to say, and doing it. Because so many teams can fall into traps in these kind of games. And this team, to their credit, consistently so far this season, they are not falling into traps. I'm telling you, when you go look at their 9 losses on the season, Charlotte game 1, game 1 of the season. They lost to San Antonio a couple nights later. That was a split there in San Antonio. An overtime loss to Golden State, a loss to OKC, a loss to Milwaukee by a point. Maybe the Portland loss, that was a back-to-back against Portland at home, and then another loss to OKC. They've also beaten OKC once, which is nice. But, that's it. There's not a bunch of trap losses in here. I look at the schedule like Detroit or Washington or I'm trying to find another bad one. Philadelphia. There's bad teams. Sacramento. Well, they did lose to Sacramento. I mentioned that one. There's a bunch. There's been a lot of bad teams on this schedule. New Orleans the other night. Toronto the other night. And they're going out and they're winning those games. That, to me, says a lot about their mental strength. And it always goes back to, until he gives me no reason to not love the way that he coaches his team and the mentality that they brought. I really do think the Rockets have found a head coach that's going to be here for 10 plus years. If they keep the relationship the way that it's going, working together. They found the guy that they've been searching for since Mike. And Mike D'Antoni was a different, but I feel like they have found their, you talk about your core, your players, they found their core of who of their foundation. That's what it is, with what he's brought. It is a lot of fun to watch his team go out and take care of business every single night. It really, really is. Let's talk about what they have to do tomorrow night, because there is something that's key to it. And it was key tonight. It's going to be key again tomorrow night to keep yourself rolling in the good times. They come back home to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's next year in the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That's definitely happened to all of us. Everybody's had a few subscriptions that, you didn't realize you were still paying for, and Rocket Money made it look so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedonnba today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One more message before we get back to our Rockets discussion on the win tonight over the New Orleans Pelicans down there in NOLA. Let's tell you about Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows you to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now with the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood LLC. Locked On Rockets Postcast after the win tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm your host, Michael Connor. Thank you for watching the show live or recorded. Rockets 128-111 victory, improving to 21-9 on the season. And now 10-6 on the road. You love to see that. I mean, look, road winning in the NBA is never the easiest thing in the world, right? There are only a total of 4 teams in the NBA that have hit the double-digit mark for wins on the road this season. That includes the Rockets, the Thunder, the Boston Celtics, and the New York Knicks. It's impressive. The Rockets are right there, as I mentioned a minute ago, second place in the West as we do this show. Love to see it. Tomorrow night, they're heading back home. All right, they're heading back home tonight. Quick little short, 45-ish minute flight, hour-ish flight, heading back west. Because if you head back west, the winds are in your head. It's headwind. Yeah. Ask me how I know. One day I'll tell you. And they'll be home later tonight. Get good night's rest, and then back to it tomorrow night at the Toyota Center against a Minnesota team that is, they're dangerous. Even though they're not performing the way that they want to perform this season, you can't overlook them, right? They're currently the 9th seed in the Western Conference. You know, they're going to be fresh. Did they play yesterday on Christmas, I believe? They did. They played yesterday in Dallas. So they've been down here. They probably came down here right after that game, and they've been hanging out down in Houston. You know, Anthony Edwards is always a problem. For the Rockets, by the way, if you're into the betting world of things, Rockets are the underdog tomorrow night. Minnesota's a 1.5-point favorite. The disrespect. The Rockets beat them on the road not too long ago. Overtime game up there. Look, if the Rockets don't shoot the ball well, they will have a hard time potentially keeping up with Minnesota if they are shooting the ball well. Rockets defensively, you know what they're going to do. Tomorrow, that's the biggest key to me. The biggest key for this quick turnaround, you know, is the fact that you have to play with the intensity on the defensive end that matches what's probably going to be lacking offensively at times for this basketball team. Yeah, that's one of the impressive things for me this season with this team has been when they play in these back-to-back situations for the most part. They're usually pretty good at coming out the next night and having the energy level that they typically have. I'm not overly concerned about that. Go out and you execute that. You play your style of defense. We've already seen that the Rockets can handle Minnesota defensively. Because these are the games. This is another one of those games that the Rockets have only lost 3 games at home so far this season. And as I mentioned, Minnesota is trying to scrap their way back to where they expected to be. This can be another one of those in the season. Now, the Rockets won't tell you it's this because that's not how Udoka coaches. But to me and to you, it's another one of those kind of statement type of nights. You can make another statement that, hey, you're not messing with this team. This team is going to do it every single night defensively. And they have to, you know, if they shoot average for what they shoot, they'll probably get out of there with a victory again tomorrow night. Of course, as soon as the game ends tomorrow night, you will be able to join us live here on this channel for the Rockets Postcast, the Locked On Rockets Postcast. As always, I appreciate all of you stopping by, watching the show tonight live. Those of you that are going to watch it later on, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Keep sharing the videos. The growth of this channel, these Rockets shows, has been fantastic. I'm so appreciative of it. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your December 26th. We'll talk again tomorrow night on December 27th after Rockets and Timberwolves right here on the Locked On Rockets Postcast.